Hello, Mark Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today's guest is Jeff Surach from Marcellus, Michigan. Thanks for joining us, Jeff.
Hey, no problem.
So, how's everything in Marcellus today?
Man, I'll tell you what, the weather is fantastic. It's been fantastic all week, and sunny and warm, which we love here in Michigan. I think most people love it everywhere. But we were on vacation last week, and we were in Alabama, and coming home to warm weather was really, really nice. It makes coming home a lot easier.
Oh, yes. Especially, because if you're coming back to winter, it's
yes.
And where you were at looked really awesome too.
Oh yeah, I would definitely recommend anybody that has some free time or a vacation. It's a really nice place to visit. So
that's cool. And you guys built a mean sandcastle too. So.
We do build sandcastles. That's something we injected about probably 6 or 8 years ago. We were down in Myrtle Beach and we were kind of bored. We were just sitting on the beach. Mark, I love getting the kids around, and I'm a kid at heart. So so I love sitting down in the sand and building something. And it doesn't always look perfect, but so many people come by and you get so much encouragement. And you go, oh, that wasn't so bad. So yeah, we love it. We love building them.
No. So talking about a big kid and all that stuff. So what got you to today? For our audience, what do you do for your everyday job or whatever your profession?
So I'm actually a contractor.
Okay.
So what I do specifically is I remodel homes. I do everything from roof work to siding to I'm tiling a shower right now. Actually remodeling an entire bathroom. When I'm done with that, then I will actually be putting all new flooring in the house, all new windows. Normally, it's not that grand a scale, but this is a customer that, in fact, the guy that I ran into, was my first boss that I ever had, and my first job.
Okay.
I was a machinist. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
So yeah, so he looked me up. We had kind of contact in between, but long story short, he came across. He knew I was in the business and asked if I'd help him, and I said absolutely. And so I've been working on his job now for a couple months, but specifically, yes, I'm a contractor. Somewhat, I kind of do it all, which some people say you shouldn't do it all, but I disagree. I think I'm pretty good at a lot of things, and I can be helpful for a lot of people. I'll install water heaters.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Kind of. Honestly, I've been referred to kind of as a handyman, but only because I know how to do that stuff. I do a little bit of light electrical, but not. I'm not licensed, so I try not to mess with that stuff too much.
Sure.
Plumbing, like I said, I do it all, and I learned that the first time that I actually was hired by my father-in-law. And my father-in-law was in the fire and storm restoration. And so you naturally have to learn a lot of facets of the job. So I didn't learn one specific area of my work. I learned a lot of different areas. We learned how to do trim work. We learned how to do cabinetry. Everything. So I've kind of carried that over the years. I've been in 17 years now. I've been in work. So.
That's cool, and that's when I was back in Michigan a few years ago, I was kind of a handyman, and I can relate with that because it is kind of nice to be able to do everything, and there's so few people out there that can do. Well, there's so few people that want to work. That's what I hear. People, it's like you showed up, and it's like, yeah, that kind of goes with it. So, but yeah, and that's one thing that's really cool. People I've worked for actually 21 years as a handyman are so supportive on this journey too.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Very, very cool. So we were talking earlier. So you're entrepreneurial. You have a very entrepreneurial family. So
yes.
When you were younger, when you were still, when we had our dreams in our head, since this is Dreamcatcher, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Well, gosh, I mean I mean, I wanted to be a lot of things.
Right.
So originally I have two brothers they work in the electronics field. I had two brothers that worked at Texas Instruments in and around Dallas, Texas, and of course they were influential. And I started taking classes and going towards that route. And Mark, I'm just going to be very frank with you. It wasn't a dream, but it looked like a really cool way to go make money. Electronics were kind of on the on the uptick.
Oh yeah.
In the 80s and the 90s, and so and I had two brothers that were already in the field, so it kind of made sense. And they're older than me, so they're much older than me. They're 12 and 13 years older than me.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So so originally that's what I wanted to do, but I have been with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, since I was in 8th grade. We've been together since I was in 8th grade. She was in 7th grade, so we met on the jungle gym. And
I love that too.
And but you know what? As I started looking at going away to college and moving away, perhaps because that was the best jobs at the time in that field were in the South. And so I started reassessing everything, and I said, you know what? I don't think I want to move away from my girlfriend, or somebody that will probably be my eventual wife. And so I made that decision. Now, I do want to say, because some people say, well, that's kind of sad. You gave up on your dreams. It wasn't really a dream. It was like most people. It was a job. It was something that and I probably would have left it, knowing what we know now. I probably would have left it anyway. I probably would have, right?
I know what you mean. Yeah, it is right. You just, especially at that mindset, when you're at that age, you're looking for what you're going to make money with, get your life started and everything like that. So I definitely understand that. That's why I went into restaurant management out of college.
Okay.
So, oh my gosh. It was a way to make money, not have a life, though. So,
right.
Yeah, no,
I've heard that.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for anybody who does that. Yeah, a lot of respect.
But what I wanted to do, Mark, I want to go back to it, because I wanted to do was I think about this a lot, Mark, and it may sound superficial, but all I wanted to do was make a good living. And and all I wanted to do was be happy, right? We all want to be happy doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
Right? And so I have discovered over the years that I can be happy in pretty much any situation. But my family has that entrepreneurial background. And my parents actually owned a pizza place here in Marcellus for about 30 years. So I think I inherited that. I inherited that from my parents, that spirit, and so.
Yeah, and it definitely comes through just on our interactions and your posts. And I can just see that next step is coming. I don't know. Do you know what the next step is today, what you want to do? I mean, you look like you have something in mind, maybe.
No, I mean, I hate to let you down. I don't know that. I mean, I'll tell you, 3 years ago, I went completely on my own as a contractor. 3 years.
Oh, really?
Ago. Okay. So at this point right now, this morning, I have never been more happy doing what I'm doing, because I'm in control, for the most part.
Yes.
And
very good.
I control my schedule. I control the people I want to work with. I control the amount of time I put in.
Awesome.
And I control my finances as far as what, I'm not dependent on another, I'm not dependent on a boss or a company.
Yep.
And naturally, being on your own can be a little bit stressful, but
it can be.
But I'll tell you, Mark, the positives outweigh the negatives with being on my own, because the stress for me is just making sure that I'm looking out far enough ahead and scheduling work, which everybody that's self-employed or that has their own business or their own venture, right? Just got to be able to look far enough ahead,
Yep.
So,
I hear you.
But I will say that my kids keep talking to me about getting into the YouTube sector, and they have told me that I should take some time and really investigate that, and they're nudging me along, and I'm not sure which is okay. That's great. I've
It's awesome. It's cool.
nudged them their whole lives, or my wife and I have nudged them their whole lives. So
Yeah. So you could be, let's see, what would you be? Productive dude's dad, or something like that.
no, I'll always be Captain Dip Turd.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about making people. You like to make people happy. I can tell. You just just from the one time I met you in person, and you do. So how did Captain Dip Turd? Explain what that actually is for the audience.
So, Captain Dip Turd is something that I discovered. If people out there have ever been exposed to Snapchat has a filter, and it puts this goofy face on you, and I have always been into that stuff. And I put this goofy face on, and I tell a story, and then I play it back, and I laugh hysterically at myself because I think that sounds so absurd that it's actually hilarious to me.
It's
all that matters.
Me too.
It's hilarious to me, and my audience is I've gotten some positive reviews from it. So
rightly so.
So I have people, oh man, that's funny what you said the other day, and that's right, and that's, I think that's what you look for is a little bit, whatever you're doing in comedy, or if you're telling, if you're telling a heartfelt story, you're looking for a little bit of a response or something. So anyway,
exactly.
Captain Dip Turd, I start telling these stories. We're on vacation, and I did this one segment. My wife insisted, and she insisted. It was a great trip. We went to. It was actually my son Carter's senior year. We went to Tennessee. So in Indianapolis, we said we had to stop in Indianapolis because we've heard it's a really pretty city, and it is. It's a wonderful city, lots of cool things. So as we're walking around, I'm seeing different things. I'm also into movies. So I'm seeing different things. So I put this face on, and I start telling stories about, how this was where they recorded the scene from National Treasure, and this was from Titanic, and so, so it kind of caught wind, and now I've done it ever since.
That is cool, and I look forward to your one at Christmas every year. I look forward to all of them. So whenever you're doing the special with the Christmas, that's awesome. But so
I'll send you if you want, Mark. I'll send you. It's only $1.99 if you want. I'll send you the. I'll send you the.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll send you the record. It's got a lot of. It's a compilation of acapella greats.
Okay, that sounds. I'll take you up on that. That's awesome. So I was looking at some of your movies, Young Frankenstein, and I know you like Christmas Vacation. I love it from you and Ann Carter. I know that, and that is an awesome movie. But so, have you ever? I mean, would you want to be a comedian anytime? Have you ever thought about doing that? I've thought about it, but I don't know. I mean, the way that I run my comedy now, I get enough of an injection of people that like it, and I don't have to travel or be on the road. And true. That's true too.
And hey, in today's world, if I put something out there and somebody doesn't like it, it's really easy to tell. You just won't get any clicks, or you won't get any clicks, you won't get any likes, and you won't get a response. Yep. So you go, okay, well that one wasn't too good, but I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, sure, I guess I've thought about it, but probably never enough to maybe act on it, I guess. But
it seems like it comes naturally to you just when you're doing that. So, and you seem at least at that time uninhibited, which is for most people is daunting. Most people are like, well, I can't do that. And it's like, but you just I get the vibe from you, and have since I'm really knowing you that you're happy with yourself, and it shows. So you want to make other people around you happy.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge gift. So okay, you also like to cook, and you have some awesome recipes. So I made your apple pie recipe last fall, which was one of the best apple pie I ever had. And I was amazed at me cooking that it came out as well as it did. It was edible. It actually was better than I thought it would be. But I'm all right cook. But so are those family recipes?
So the apple pie recipe, my father-in-law and mother-in-law live right next door to us, and
Okay.
probably 15 years ago, my father-in-law went to the orchard, and one day I got home from work, and there's this box of apples on the porch, and
Okay.
I thought, man, I like apples, but what am I going to do with all these apples? I mean, literally, Mark, there was a box of apples there.
Oh, wow.
And the family, the kids weren't really, I mean, they, like an occasional apple, but we're talking, there were probably 100 apples in there, if not more.
Wow.
So
A lot of
I
apples.
thought, what are we going to do with all these apples? So I naturally looked up an apple pie recipe. I've always wanted to make apple pie. So what I did was I looked up a recipe, and then all I did from there was start tweaking stuff. And what I thought, this would be a good flavor, and this would be good. So I got that recipe online, and then I tweaked it, and I've been tweaking it. Honestly, I've been tweaking it probably for the last 15, 16 years.
Really good.
And I know it's there. The apples you put into it obviously make a difference.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But everybody, we host exchange students. I've taught all of our exchange daughters how to make it, which is
So
fun.
yeah.
I love being in the kitchen, Mark. I really do.
That's awesome.
I love cooking things and making things up. There's a lot that I really don't know about, but the recipes that I do know about, I'm constantly tweaking. I like to barbecue stuff, but actually, apple pie I've been tweaking it, and I personally love it. And then I always ask for good reviews, from people that try. What do you think? Do you really like it, or are you just being polite? Because you don't need to be polite. If there's an aspect about it you don't like, then tell me. Because I want to know. And but that, Mark, you have that recipe, right?
That we have, yes.
So, but that one, the recipe you can get probably 1,000 apple pie recipes online, but that one was tweaked, and I do tell people. And this is kind of a half-hearted joke, but I do tell people that this is a secret family recipe, and I only give it out to my closest friends. And then it's kind of like Willy Wonka's. It's kind of like all of Willy Wonka's secrets. They mustn't leave the factory.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, but I wholeheartedly agree with that. No, that pie was gone very, very quickly. So that was so good. And I think, what was your suggestion with vanilla ice cream or something on top of it?
Oh, yeah, vanilla ice cream. Small scoop of vanilla ice cream. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want it to saturate it. But yeah, small scoop, which is again, that's a well-known fact. But I think if you're going to have a real apple pie, real homemade, nice warm apple pie, you got to have a scoop of ice cream on it.
You do. Oh yeah. No, I had problems stopping in one piece. That's for sure. So okay. So what is something you haven't done that you would like to do?
Well, I'll tell you, we have traveled, and I don't want to sound superficial or cliche-ish. We have traveled. In fact, I've seen since I was a kid, I've seen all but I've seen 45 of our U.S. states. So traveling is definitely something that I look forward to doing. We have, as I mentioned before, we host exchange students, and we have what we call family members all over the world now. In fact,
which is really awesome.
So to answer your question, traveling. I mean, traveling is definitely something I'd like to do more of, and with my job and with me controlling my time, then. I certainly can afford that. Work-wise, I will probably continue to work. Only because I'm a busybody at heart. I mean, I have no problem staying busy. Being in my field, a lot of people ask how my body is. How's it holding up? I said it holds up great because I think I'm active. So what do I want? What's the next step? I think I want to continue to stay active.
Very good.
We do want to travel. Our boys are grown now, so there's no pressure on them. But I would say that, we'd like to enjoy time with them first. There's nothing better than spending time with your adult kids for us. And then, eventually grandchildren if, God willing, So nothing big and dangerous, but there's always something on, there's always something brewing. My mind is always but nothing that
I hear you.
Okay. As far as
and that's cool. And family's what it's all about too. And that's one thing I love about your family. You really realize that. So you guys are actually you guys are a breath of fresh air in today's world. Where you guys just do you do family.
Oh, yeah.
And like you say, all the people you exchange students become your family too.
Oh yeah.
And that's really, really awesome. I mean, that is so cool. And I'm so blessed Carter did that survey back in 2019, so I actually crossed paths with you guys.
Well, Mark, it was meant to be. I think it was meant to be, and I've thought the world of you since the day I met you. I think you're an awesome guy. I really do. And Cheryl, as well. Cheryl is an awesome human being as well. Yeah, you guys are both quality people.
Thank you. No, and you guys are too. So okay. So what else is going on in your life? I mean, okay, you're doing this. You're active, which is definitely the secret to staying. I think it keeps you younger. YouTube. What would you do if you went to YouTube? I mean, if you got your own channel?
So I obviously have the support of the kids, and they are injected into it. But I think what's out there is I believe that there's no doubt that there's a platform for teaching people how to, especially do-it-yourselfers, how to do things
definitely.
in today's day and age, and with people being more willing to, learn things and get it at the snap of a finger.
Right.
And I would say that most likely it's just a matter of putting videos together and editing them and giving them to people and teaching teaching others how to do what's taken me, if we're being honest, my whole adult life,
Sure. I hear you.
Once you get to be an adult, you have to learn how to do things, right?
Definitely.
But I would think that there's definitely an avenue. And I think probably the only thing stopping me from doing that is putting my best foot forward and just saying, okay, just put some videos together and put the content out there and see what happens, right?
Just start. It is. Just start. That first step is usually the one. And what I also like about you guys, your family, is you guys are not afraid to take action. You all take action. And that is one thing that I find the people I talk to, they have their some days, and I tell them most some days don't occur. They can, but they're going to retire. And I probably will never retire. It's just like, what I'm doing, especially right now, I don't even see it as work. I love it. And, but it's just, you're just taking that, and then it's like, well, I don't know what to do. It's like, you won't know what to do until you actually take the action to get through it. And you just got to start. And that's one thing. If you're going to catch your dreams or do anything, you got to start.
Right.
It's and don't care if you're going to look. It's a learning process. Just like day before yesterday, I did water yoga. Let me tell you, that was a learning process. I was chemical. Oh my gosh, and one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Okay.
But they put you on these great big, almost like rafts, and I was in the water quite a few times.
Holy cow!
And then the last time when we were going to get rid of the rest because we were done with class, I went over to the side and it shot out from underneath me, and they thought I hit my head on the side of the pool, and which I didn't. But it's just like, if I cared about looking stupid, which I did, I would have never done that.
Right.
But and if I knew how much pain that I was going to be in, because yesterday I could hardly move. But I think once you get into that feeling of doing something new, you kind of gets almost addictive.
Oh yeah.
You kind of crave that. And I'm going back next Wednesday for the class again. So we'll see if I can stay out of the water more.
I never knew there was such a thing. That's how I would guess I consider myself sheltered sometimes. I guess I didn't know there was water yoga. So
until recently I didn't either. So but since I've become part of the Y, basically I'm almost working for the one Y.
Okay.
And there's 4 Ys in this area, and I'm kind of going between them all. But
nice.
That's another thing. I mean, I like playing sports. I don't watch it too much, but I wasn't ever really athletic. So We got those going by. I'll probably hear that in a few minutes. We're on the highway too. So, but yeah, that's one thing. I wish I had started earlier on the why, but I was afraid I was going to look stupid doing sports stuff.
Yes.
And now I wish I'd started decades ago because I love it. I really love it. In fact, yesterday they asked if I wanted to become a Tai Chi instructor. And it's like, what does that entail? It's like, well, you'd have to go to Chicago to become certified. It's like, I think I might do that.
All right.
So it's just that's another thing. Because I'm definitely older than you. I'm a late bloomer, but it's never too late. But it's like, don't ever stop learning too. And I know that you have that motto too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I told him, it's like, yeah, I get to learn something new. I get to go to Chicago. They're paying for it. So
that's going to be, I think that's going to be an awesome, venture. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it will.
I think that'll be really cool. So yeah, it's never too late. Don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself because it's the only way you're going to learn how. And and have a dream in your mind. Because I can just tell with your posts, you're going to do YouTube, but I think you're going to get much more into the social media thing too. I could see you doing much more.
Well, it's such a huge platform that how can we dismiss it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It astounds me actually that it's grown to what it has. Even since I've been out of school now almost 30 years. So it astounds me how fast and much, how far we've come. And it astounds me now that my kids, and people like you are in this. And I have friends that, most of us have done traditional things our whole life, right?
Right.
So we've done the traditional, I'm a contractor, but before that, I was in financial services for a spell. Okay. And then I was a machinist, and I worked at a local GM facility, General Motors facility. Okay. But so that's the tradition, right? That's the tradition.
Right.
Past.
Exactly.
And when we started talking to our kids about what you want to do and how you there really wasn't a lot of pressure because I've changed so much. And I've recognized that, and my wife has changed so much over the last 20 years, 20 to 30 years, that why be honed in on one specific thing? It's going to change anyway. Right?
Exactly.
You're going to change jobs. You're going to try to change your environment, and so the kids, it's been natural, but this YouTube thing is just blows my mind, Mark. It blows, and it's unbelievably awesome.
It is. Yeah, you can find anything there. I mean, if I have something I don't know how to do, it's probably somebody's got a video up there.
Right.
So
video. There's there's insight. I mean, you can get. You can get you can get good and bad insight, right, from anything. But that's up to each individual to choose what they're trying to get their hands on. But so I could see that happening. But with that, if I'm being real with you, Mark. For me, that is just a step of saying, you know what, this is the next thing. Go, put your best foot forward and start doing it, and see what happens. So
I agree.
So just taking the next step is important in anything you do.
It is. Yeah, it's just you need to do that, and that's one thing. I've been starting to do some pop-up podcasts, and it's amazing how they look at me in awe, and it's like I'm not in awe. Why would you be that? Just because I did this, I barely started. And it's just like last time I went to Olive Garden, I was holding court. I had people. The manager was there. It's like I'm not doing anything really out of the ordinary. It's just I started,
Yeah.
And anybody who gets me talking, just ask Carter. Carter knows I like to talk. So, but it's just, it is. It's just you need to have that goal in your mind or goals in your mind and just go for them. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you get your dream. That's where you get anything. So
yes, absolutely.
Take action, become that person. That's another thing. I have people say it's like, well, I'll become that person, and it's like, no, you have to become that person. You have to gradually grow into that person. And, which is kind of backwards from the way I was raised. It's like, I'm going to be a quote unquote doctor. I'm going to be, podcaster. And it's just like, no, you have to do everything a podcaster or whatever, beforehand. It's the only way you learn. It's well, from the trade you do. It's how you become where you are today. So
yeah, you have to do it. You have to do it. But being positive, I think is, as long as we're talking about it, I think that's super important with all that we do in our lives and everything we encounter in our daily lives. If we can learn to be positive about things, and life isn't always, what do they say, sunshine and rainbows, but man, if we can just learn to be positive about things, my goodness, the battle for me is a lot easier because I believe that, I really believe in being positive. So
so do I. And actually, I think you attract what you see. I mean, if you're looking for positive, you find it. If you're looking for negative, you're going to find it
easily.
So and there's plenty of negativity out there. But my dad has a little problem with going to the negative side, and it's like he won't stop watching the news for one thing. But it's just, if be positive, because then the positive vibes or whatever. For instance, you attract positive people too, and positive situations. So.
Mark,
yes.
As long as I've got your ear, why do you think it's hard for people to be positive? I mean, maybe it'd be easy to understand that, but as long as we're on that subject, I wonder that a lot. I wonder if I know people very intimately, not in my family, not in my, but I know, but I have people that I know very intimately that they just are so negative, and I think. And they do attract what they are, and you see trends. I mean, you see trends of decades. People that I know, your life has been one mess after another. Not to get deep or not to, but I'm asking because I go, man, why do you think it's so hard for people to be positive? For me, it's easy to be positive because being positive creates positive around you, right?
Amen. It does. Yeah. I think. In my dad's case, my grandma wasn't a very nice person, and I think she kind of instilled the negativity over the years when he was growing up. I mean, he's better. He's better now in the last year. I think with my mom and everything, that is weight off of him. I mean, she's gone, but he had a lot of weight, dealing with the Alzheimer's dementia thing.
Sure.
But when we had our Christmas. I'd never seen him laugh. And he was laughing so hard he almost fell off the couch or the sofa. And it's like, okay, so maybe circumstance, life circumstance. But I do think a lot of the upbringing of the parents, it's kind of one of those things where you see that where the parent yells at the kid and then the kid yells at their kids down there. I think a lot of that. Plus, I think a lot of people watch like my dad, too much the news.
Yeah.
I think they get hooked in on that and think there's no hope for the world. And it's like, there is. There's so many awesome people out there. There's so many awesome things going on. And, like you guys do in the exchange students. Talk about a ripple. And I talk about ripple because the positivity you guys are doing for your exchange students is going to carry on forward because they love that experience.
Oh, yes.
And I think that is, like I said, my dad had his negative experiences because my dad and I tried to farm together for a while. Oh my gosh, it was not a good thing. So I would never recommend. So, but I think some people just they like to be the victim. It's like, oh, poor me. I just, it's like the world's terrible. A mindset, basically, I think is what their mindset is. And mindset is what it's all about. If you don't have the proper mindset, you really aren't going to go further. You can't go further than I believe your mindset is. So
there is truth. There is a lot of truth to that, and I look at it and I think that people. I think people think this is big, daunting. Like it's like you got to go to. It's like you got to go to college, or it's like going. I think people look at it like going to med school or law school, that trying to be positive, and it's just really it was back to what we were talking about a little while ago about the whole Captain Dip Turd thing, and I feel I enjoy laughing. I actually feel better, right? And how many times have we heard
Yes.
that? It's better to laugh than you know, and how even crying. Even crying is good, you know. And
It is. Sometimes you need a good cry because you feel better afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, it's being positive is not a, you know, it's not a course. It's just it's just a way of life. I think
It's
one
you just
step
go
at a
out
time. And our environment is where it all starts, right? What we're feeding ourselves, you know.
We are very much. And it's making that decision because there's days where you get up and it's like last thing you want to be is positive, but you make that decision like you're going to be positive. And I think once you get like for the day, you know, it's like okay, you kind of get into the vibe of being positive. But there's becoming a runner, becoming anything. You make that decision, you're going to do it every day.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to discipline. Because it's easy, even if with positivity, it's just the discipline of being positive. You just have made the decision that you're going to be positive. And because life happens. There's days where, oh my gosh, there's days where it'd be easy to go the other way. But I find when I'm positive, even on those bad days, it seems like the day gets better because I gravitate people that are, you know, there to help. And that's another thing. I think when you're positive, and then I think when you say what you're going to do, that I'm going to be positive, the universe, God, brings the resources and people into your arena that will support that.
Absolutely.
Very much. And I have definitely found that. And then the people that are negative are just getting it. And what a terrible way to live. I feel sorry for them. It's like there's so many beautiful things. Life's beautiful. It's awesome. And that's another reason why I'm doing this.
Okay.
I want to do as much ripple as possible. And this is already the second year of this podcast, which amazes me. If you'd have told me when Carter and I met that I was going to do a podcast, I would have said, I don't think so.
Well, and we kind of, you know, didn't know all the conversations, but knew it was going on, you know, and thought, man, nothing nothing made me more proud than to see my kids helping influence people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I do. I do know what you mean. So that's that. You know,
and for the most part, you can sit back and observe from afar. You know, you can look and go, what are these positive impacts or negative impacts they're making? And they're making positive impacts.
Very much.
So and they love what they're doing. And so I said, okay, well, what, you know, right. So we could see that from afar. So we've kind of seen not your whole journey, but the last couple of years we've been able to see it.
I just was thinking the other day, it's like, I think it was the first part of 2019 that Carter and I met. So time flies. It really has flown greatly, and I can see how much I can see how much I've changed, but I can also see how much Carter's changed too. And that's especially at that age, you change a lot at that age for music.
Oh yes.
So when's your podcast?
When is it?
When are you gonna? Yeah, when are you coming up with your podcast?
I don't know. You put me on the spot, Mark. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to say that. I need an accountability partner. Maybe we need to talk on a daily basis so you can say, hey man, when are you going to do it? And you can do it and push forward.
You would be awesome at it. I would definitely do that. If you want me to do that, I'll hold you accountable.
Well,
so
probably what it'll take is encouragement, and of course you have that, and then just making the time to do it, and it's certainly an option. So yeah, I think. Maybe we ought to look at that.
That would be so awesome. I would love to listen to your podcast or even watch it because more of them are getting that going that way too. And but yeah, you would get your Blue Yeti mic. I think that's one Carter has too, and you could be doing your podcast. You could be doing it yet today.
I love it. Oh. No, I love the encouragement, and I mean. It's there. Just need to need to step forward and do it, right? Just like like what we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes. So
So Jeffrey, you have for somebody that's starting out that wants to go doing podcasts or just getting started with anything. What would be your recommendation for somebody just starting out in anything?
I think that. I think seeking out, that's a tough one for me, Mark, to give advice on that. But
Okay.
I would say that seek out things that maybe you find that bring you enjoyment, or
Okay.
seek out, because I think we all have it. We all have something in our mind and in our heart that really moves us.
Yep.
That we want to, without sounding cheesy, we want to bring to the world, right?
Amen.
So I would say find what drives you, find what moves you in it. And we all might look at it and go, oh, that's kind of weird, or, who would want that? But
Right.
what do we're a world made up of, and I don't know the exact numbers, but at least billions of people, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So there's something out there for everybody, right? So,
there is.
So whatever's on our heart, and whatever we're feeling, we certainly could bring it to the world, and what better way to do it than, through YouTube or through wherever you are with the TikTok thing, or Snapchat, Facebook. I mean, all these social media platforms, there's no excuse to not pull it out or bring it out there, right? And get it out there.
True. Yeah, it's the beauty of this technology. I mean, it is that, that we're doing this states away. Time zones, different time zones and everything.
Yeah.
And there is, this technology is really, I did a podcast episode with a guy in Sydney, Australia the other day.
Okay.
And, he was in a whole nother day. It was 17 hours difference.
Day ahead of us,
And
right?
It's just like,
they're a day
yeah,
ahead.
17 hours ahead, yeah. Because he was on Thursday and I was still on Wednesday. And it's just like, wow, that just blows my mind. That you got that power to do this and make a difference in the world. So
it's quite amazing how we can reach out. Some of our students. We're talking to some of them in Thailand. Excuse me. We have 2 of them in Thailand. I'm piggybacking on what you just said. It amazes me. I'm sitting there and we're on our computer and we're having a video call, and man, they are completely on the other side of the world.
Yes.
And we are having right now we're having a, on time conversation. Like we're sitting in the same room together.
Yeah, it is.
So, this is, and we shouldn't be amazed anymore. We really shouldn't, but this is,
but I still am. Yep.
But,
definitely.
Did I answer your question, Mark?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm addressing it.
So, Jeff, anything else you want to bring to the table today, or we can kind of tie up the podcast right there? And
no, I would say I really appreciate the opportunity to sit in with you, and I really, Mark, I consider it an honor. I really do.
Oh, thank you.
I really do, because I don't. Sometimes you go out. We get tied up in our own lives, right?
Yeah.
So we go. And somebody that we know each other, but we don't know each other all that well, right?
Right.
But
Exactly.
Somebody that said, you contact me and say, hey, I'd like you to be a part of my podcast, and I go, wow. I go, that's kind of an honor, and I'm kind of scrambling around because this is my first podcast. So thank you for bringing that to me, and so I'm scrambling around asking my wife, well, what do you do with this, and what do you do about that, and then. I get on, I talked with Carter last night. I say, Carter, how do these podcasts go? And he goes, well, here, he goes, check out, this podcast or that podcast.
Right.
He goes, see how they go, because I just wanted to bring value to your platform.
I can understand that. And you definitely did. And thank you for being my guest. I appreciate that greatly too.
Just be happy. I don't want to be superficial. Be happy, be positive, enjoy life to its fullest. And we got to be afraid or can't be afraid to take that next step forward, right?
Exactly. You get nowhere. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Absolutely.
You have to take that first step. That's for sure. So, well, on that, Jeff, I will tie in the podcast. Really, thank you for being my guest.
Absolutely.
This has been great, and maybe down the line we can do a follow up when things are. Your next step.
When I start that YouTube up, right?
Yeah, there you go. Well,
okay.
I'll take you up on that too. So, but anyway, thank you. Have a great day, and we'll be talking soon.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.